Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to one of those questions is really simple: Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. So if you always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Good evening. To my listeners here in the United States and around the world, I'm your host, CI, for CI Radio Podcast Show. Today's date is Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. Let's get started. Steve Bannon, a former ally, close confidant to Donald Trump, was indicted on criminal charges citing contempt of Congress. I don't know if anybody paid attention to what he said, but after I saw him come out of the courtroom, him and his attorney were talking to the media, and Steve Bannon said that we're going to take down the Biden regime. He mentioned Nancy Pelosi. He mentioned Chuck Schumer. Here's what I say about that. To me, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, straight, gay, Christian, Muslim, whoever you are. If you are an American and you love this country, you should not only love it for yourself, but you should want others to love it too, and love for them to love the country. But we're living at a time where people believe that they can say and do whatever they want to do. There are certain people, when it comes to the day, for their day of retribution and accountability, they flip out because they're used to seeing other people on the other side of that table and chair. But see, now, sometimes people do get paid back, and they have to be held accountable for their actions. There's two criminal justice systems going on in America. One for black people, one for white people. And it's the truth. Because you see what's going on in Rittenhouse trial versus Ahmaud Arbery trial. White supremacy is at the center of it. Just because I talk about white supremacy does not make me a racist. I'm racist against racism. And the powers that be is waging a war to still further divide us. If you go back and look at what happened on January the 6th, the Capitol attack, that was the worst day in American history. No matter what side of the political spectrum you are on. Did you enjoy seeing that? And I've been hit by black folks and white folks. Black folks getting mad at me saying, hey, you should not be mad about that. Let the white people handle that. And then there's white people that are mad because they think that I shouldn't be mad about it. You know what I mean? So I'm hitting both sides of the spectrum. But what I saw, it pissed me off. It made me mad. It didn't matter Democrat or Republican. If a member of Congress would have died during that attack, that would have been horrible. It would have been horrible. Whatever happened to reasoning? Whatever happened to we can agree to disagree? Because you guys were sold a lie, which will go down in history. A free, fair election. Some people think that these people, that's part of the power structure, is already selected and not elected. But no matter what, they're wanting people to not vote. They want you to think that the voting system doesn't work. But at the same time, though, you go back and you look at history. When it comes to white supremacy, it was a system that was benefited for them because they were the ones who were writing the laws. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that black people have independence. Because the people who wrote the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence were white guys who had slaves. They were slave owners. So we're off to a bad start right there. But as time went on, white people started joining the fights with black people because white people are tired of racism too. They just don't show that side. The media doesn't show that side. They only show the side of the white cop killing the black man. They only show that side of it to stir up the narrative. That's their job. But 1 out of 6 people that protested during George Floyd were white. So that lets me know that there were more white people that marched for equality than black people. Because white people are tired of the racism. And that's the reason why they didn't like seeing people protesting. Because white people joined black people. And then you had Kyle Rittenhouse basically waged a war against the protesters. He was probably mad that white people were out there protesting for a black man named Jacob Blake, who was shot and paralyzed. They let the police officer that did that go. No charges. Allegedly, Jacob Blake had a knife. But see, from a black man's perspective, you're already guilty. Because the color of your skin, they're intimidated. And because they're intimidated, that gives them the justification to kill you. I am a black man who is biracial. I am a biracial black male. African American and European. And as a black male, I've had my issues with the cops and the criminal justice system. That's their goal. Their goal is to neutralize the black man at any shape or form. Either kill him or you put him in jail. Because if you think about it, they killed the black man because they don't want the black man to be able to reproduce. That's the reason why the cops are killing us, and they're promoting an agenda to feminize the black male that stops reproduction. So it is clear as day that everything that has taken place in the last 7 to 8 months are all stepping stones to the very end. When it all blows up. I'm a realist. Everything doesn't have to be a conspiracy. But if you pay attention and figure stuff out on your own of what they're doing, it'll make sense to you. Because coming up, I didn't know. And the propaganda that they show in this country is to program us, just like they do in any other country. They always got to drive that message of democracy and freedom. They got to always do that. But they renege when it comes to people that look like me. And all that I'm asking is for equal protection under the law. All I'm asking is to be able to be treated with humanity. That's all I'm asking. I'm not violent. I'm not a rapist. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a racist. I stand up for everybody, no matter who you are. But I'm not going to stand up for racism. I'm going to defend myself against racism. I don't stand up for racism. I fight it. And I'm use any tools at my disposal, whether it's my podcast show, my public speaking engagements, no matter where I'm at in the world or what I'm doing, any way that I can use my platform to fight the evil forces of darkness, I'm going to do it. That's why I did this show. Because this is from my point of view of what I see where the world is headed. We are headed for destruction. People are dying of this disease, the COVID-19. People still don't believe that it's real. They're sacrificing the kids. And they're killing people. Think about it. Every single day, what's the one thing you see? Every single day, there's somebody that got killed. Every single day. Whether it's from COVID, car wrecks, shootings, no matter what, somebody always dies every day. And it hurts my heart because I see it. And it's not fun. To my listeners around the world, America, this is a dangerous place. This is a dangerous place. I fear for my life. because nowhere is safe. If anybody believes that we live in a safe world, something is wrong. Because that's far from the truth. This is the most dangerous time in our history of the world. They're making their final push. And to reinstall Donald Trump back into the presidency, because that's what they want to do. If they get Donald Trump back into the White House, if he becomes president again, they will have full control over everything. They will control the money. They will control the food source. They will control the political side of it. They'll control all branches of the government. And the only thing that stopped or helped us, was the voting. The voting was the only thing that stopped them from carrying out their plan, because they already carried it out with the military coup. The coup started in the government. That's why they're researching and they're investigating it. The January 6th, I call it the 1/6 Commission. They're investigating everything that took place in there. They're linking everything together. And they have it figured out. But they have to act swiftly on it. Because if the Republicans take back the presidency, the House, and the Senate, they will destroy everything that the 1/6 Commission had did. All the investigation, same way they did the Mueller investigation. If you think about it, for the last 5 to 6 years, we have seen corruption like no other time in American history in real time. Bigger than Watergate. The people that was in the Trump administration was committing crimes every day. Things that you and I would go to jail for. Just like that. But because they have a fetish for power, they allowed them to violate the laws. And because that administration was in power, you can't do nothing to them. You can't do anything to them. They're already out of office, and while Trump was president, he basically enabled them. He let them get away with it, just like Congress let him get away with it. For 5 years, Congress has allowed him to get away with it. And there's people, black and white, that want this dude back. They want him back into the White House. I'm like, what? Why? You realize what he's going to do? He's a threat. He's a danger to the world. But there's people that want him back in there. I don't understand. If the Republican Party regains control of all the branches of government, it's over. They'll destroy the voting system. That's why all of them stay in power. Their main thing is to get rid of the Democratic Party. And the only way to get rid of the Democratic Party is to get rid of the voting. So while we're sleeping, every day the enemy is plotting something to destroy. That's what they're doing. But once they figure out this voting situation, look like the infrastructure bill, which, by the way, the Republicans are trying to take credit for passing an infrastructure bill that they voted against. How are you going to take credit for something that you voted against? Not all the Republicans voted against it. They did vote for it. So they were able to get it done. But they're going to face backlash because they're going to think that they're siding with the Democrats. But let's make no mistake. If Donald Trump gets back into the White House, they will have absolute power. And there will be no limit to what they can do because they already tried to do it. How can you roll with somebody that is against your country, that is selling you out for Russia, for a foreign government? And I'm scratching my head. I can't believe that, meaning us as black people, like, we don't understand what's really going on. We don't understand how serious that a person would use a foreign government. The proof is right there. They're not going to just make up anything on you. The proof is right there of all the stuff that they did. Things that if we were to conspire or collude with the foreign government, man, we'd be in trouble just like that. We'd be gone. But then that goes to show he already had all of his people in play because they knew and he knew that the moment he became president, all of his dirty little secrets were exposed. They all came out. And we started knowing what was going on. That's why it was getting mad. You get mad because it's the truth. And they know everything about you. That's where that's where we come in at. Because for the more the people that know what's really going on, and they get with other people that know what's going on, because all we're going to have is each other. You see the inflation, you see the prices of food and groceries and all of that going up, gas going up. We are in a real dark time, man. And it's just going to continue to get worse. We're fragile because we were almost taken over. I don't know what place, or as far as in America goes, I don't know what you were looking at that day, but I saw live with my own eyes of what it was like on January the 6th. I saw with my own eyes America unfolding. And I didn't know what to do or what to say. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But they want you to believe that what you saw wasn't real. That's what makes me mad. You know what happened and who was behind it. That's the reason why they're starting to lock people up. I don't care who you are, what color you are. If you commit the crime, you should do the time. It should be an equal playing field for everybody. Don't let certain people get away with it just because of who they are. Because that's where we're in trouble when it comes to the law. I am your host, CI, for CI Radio Podcast Show. You can find this show, this episode, and my previous episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Anchor, and wherever you get your podcast shows. To my listeners here in the United States and around the world, thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday night. Be safe, be well, treat each other with kindness, wear a mask, wash your hands, get the vaccine, practice social distancing, and let's make the world a better place. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and thank you for tuning in.